Boys and girls, ladies and gents, welcome to another episode of Stadium and Gale. It's Uncle Silk.
It's Dan.
And it's Nick. Sort of.
What's up, sort of, Nick? How you feeling, man? You all right?
We'll just go ahead and apologize for the voice. Had a really good time. Shout out to my friend Kyle Bagan. I'm sure he'll listen to the podcast on his way to his honeymoon. Kyle and Tori had a beautiful wedding down in Clearwater Beach. And as you can tell, I also had an awesome time at the wedding.
Yeah, man. It's always a good time when you're a horse, man.
We're going to pod through the pain today.
You're telling some loud lies in the club. I know the vibes.
Just yelling at someone's ear.
Yeah, yelling at somebody's ear, man. So what was you drinking on this weekend? I seen y'all, both of you boys looking quite festive. I wasn't having quite the good time as you guys, but I had an okay time. What were you drinking on this weekend, Nick?
Yes. If it was wet and had an alcohol content, I was not saying no. Shots, champagne, vodka, whiskey, seltzer. I think that's it. Tequila. There's tequila.
That's where you messed up at, man. You're at the age where you just can't be just drinking everything that got alcohol in it, bud.
Age is just a number, and I feel 74 today.
It's a big difference. Dapper Dan.
Yes, sir.
Kings of the West.
I was down in Key West. That's a wild place. That's a place that you need to visit maybe once or twice in your lifetime with a group of friends. Any more than that might put you on your deathbed yourself. I had a great time. It was a little windy down there all weekend. So we had plans to go boating. Weren't able to do that. Had a small craft advisory, but did take out some jet skis. That was a wild experience dealing with 3-4 foot waves on a jet ski. Not something I would recommend doing. Worked out every kink in my back though, so feeling like a new man there. And then other than that, Duval Street's a crazy place. The place was humming all weekend. Had great weather, man. It was a glorious weekend. It's my first time in the Keys, probably in 20 years. So place is popping. Yeah, that place is lawless for sure.
Yeah.
We went down there one time, must have been like freshman year of college, and we didn't know that it was Fancy Fest. We just showed up, and we get down to Key West, and we're looking around like,
surprise.
We're like, what? What's happening here? Like, oh, it's Fancy Week. Like, this is it the whole week. We're like, we did not know. Okay.
That's a wild time to be down there, Nick.
Lawless.
Yeah, I was down there for bartenders bash back in my day. I don't know if they still do that anymore. I ended up, you guys had quite a blast in some nice cities. I was in a small town called Wauchula Saturday for my cousin's graduation. So shout out to my little cousin Jethro, class of 2021. And I went to graduation as well on Friday. I was all graduation this weekend, and I just chilled at the crib. That was about it. Took the boys with me out there to hang out a little bit, had a graduation party, and then trucked it on back home. I ran through a lot of small towns, man. I tell you, you go east and west and start traveling across this state, you run into some sketchy towns.
You sure do. Yeah, I've been to Wauchula a few times. Every year, my family has the famous Mears family reunion in Sebring, which isn't very far from Wauchula. Right, so I often make my way through there, and that is certainly a small town. I think that they have a Walmart, and if you pass the Walmart, you're probably no longer in Wauchula. So, did you have yourself a good time over there, though?
Yeah. For the couple hours I was there for that graduation party, and I got out of Dodge before the sun went down.
I don't blame you, dude. You never know. You never know what you're going to see out there.
Word up, man.
Where is it? It's West Coast?
It's middle of nowhere. Like Polk County, kind of like some weird way. I don't know.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know. It's like, like Sarasota, Fort Myers, like you draw a triangulation, like right in the middle. It's like right there. I think it's like near Sebring. That's all I know.
All right.
Well, I don't think we have any listeners there, so they won't be offended. But
I'll put it on the list of places to go visit, Dan.
Shout us out on Twitter if you live in Wauchula.
Yeah, man. So that was my weekend. Let's get into some Gator talk. What you got, Dan?
Yeah, let's do it. But before we do that, let's give a shout out to our friend Lee Friedland at the law firm of Friedland and Associates. So if you have any issues with medical malpractice, auto accidents, really anything that you need, civil service for, give Lee Friedland a call. 1-800-95-INJURED. Again, auto accidents, medical malpractice, nursing home cases, personal injury cases, 1-800-95-INJURED or yourfightourbattle.com. Again, Lee Friedland, yourfightourbattle.com. Big news today, boys. The Florida Gators, as we called it on this show, are national champions in men's tennis. They went into the NCAA tournament as the number 1 seed. They stormed through everybody, a bunch of 4-0 and 4-1 wins, all the way to the final against Baylor down in Orlando. Lose the doubles match to start off the tournament, but then go 4-0 in the singles matches, end up beating Baylor 4-1. That is the University of Florida's first ever national championship in men's tennis. That is head coach Brian Shelton's first national championship as a head coach of any program. And his son, who was a freshman, was one of the players that led the team to the Florida Gators' first men's national championship in tennis. So congratulations to them. It is a unbelievable and illustrious honor, and we are looking forward to getting Brian Shelton or some of the coaching staff on the show here in the next couple of weeks to talk to them. But congratulations to them. On the opposite end of the spectrum, big rackets. On the other side of the sporting world, Nick, we want to dive into baseball a little bit because the SEC tournament is going to be starting this week. Baseball had a tough week against number 1 Arkansas, going 0-3 against them. But Nick, talk to us a little bit about baseball this past weekend.
Yeah, I watched. I only got one of the 3 games in since I was out of town. But said last week on the podcast, Florida needed not to get swept at Arkansas and not lose their first game in the SEC tournament. And they went ahead and got swept at Arkansas, and they'll play Kentucky tomorrow, brunch with the Gators at 10:30 from Hoover. But shout out to Florida because I would be in Hoover if it was not a single elimination game. So saved me 7 hours of driving to Birmingham, Alabama. So Florida's going to go with Tommy Mace tomorrow, and that tells me that Kevin O'Sullivan knows we need to win Tuesday or Wednesday.
The big dog. That's the big dog on the mound.
That's your number 1 guy. Okay. And typically the way the tournament works, it doesn't matter if you win the tournament, unless you're a team like Auburn who might not make the NCAA tournament. Auburn needs to have a really good week. Typically, Florida just uses this week in Hoover to get your pitching staff ready for regionals because that's when the games really matter. But Florida's in a situation where you might not even host a regional if you lose to Kentucky tomorrow. And you can tell that that's what Kevin O'Sullivan's thinking by throwing his ace tomorrow. Because normally in major leagues, you get 5 days in between a start. Tommy threw 4 days ago. And in college, you normally only pitch once a week, once every 7 days. So he's throwing on short rest. And that's telling me that they're valuing at least the first game of the tournament. If you win the first game, then it goes into a double elimination. And then they'll pitch, Hunter Barco and those other guys. But nice. Florida does not want to go into the tournament, losers of like 6 of their last 7 or losers of 5 straight.
What do you think happens? How you feeling about this game?
They'll beat Kentucky tomorrow, I think, with Tommy on the mound. I just don't know. Baseball's a weird sport. I just don't think this is the way the team is playing right now. They got hot, and then obviously can't talk too bad about them. They lost to the number 1 team in the country. Arkansas has been ranked number 1 the last 13 weeks, so they've been dominant all year. I just don't know how deep of a run this team can make. Tommy Mace is pitching well. Hunter Barco's pitching well. But after that, there's just not the kind of pitching depth that the teams who get to Omaha and do well in Omaha have. So
talk to me about the bats, man. You're talking about a lot of pitching. What's up with the bats?
The bats were not alive last weekend in Arkansas. But Judd Fabian is second in the country with home runs still at 20. He had a bad weekend in Fayetteville. I just don't know. I don't know about this team. I'm interested to see how serious they take Hoover because they're not typically there for a long time. They're just there for a good time. But you have to kind of have a good performance. So I'll know more tomorrow around noon. But the bats,
we all know more around noon.
They gotta shake something up. I think
that's wild. Silk Nixon wait to get his takes off till after the game's over.
Yeah. What's wrong with
he's like, as I said, this team was prepared, or as I was saying, this team just wasn't quite as prepared.
Listen, that's how I know I'm prepared, giving myself outs no matter the outcome.
I like it.
That's wild.
They got to do some shaking up in the lineup, but listen, they're a good team. They should beat Kentucky. And then once you get deeper into the tournament, everyone's going to be using their pitching. So who knows when you're throwing, freshman versus freshman in a SEC tournament semifinal, on a Saturday. Who knows?
Nick, who and I don't want to call out people or name names necessarily, but why did we think that this team was going to be so much stronger maybe than they are?
He didn't listen to me, so.
Well, no, I did. But I mean, obviously developed a ton of talent, or brought in a bunch of talent. Didn't lose a lot last year. Returned quite a bit of the roster that they expected. You get a little bit older. This team seemed to operate a little bit better last season than they are this year. What is the difference?
Yeah, so I mean, when you start 16-0, finish 16-1, and you really only lose 2 players from that team, you get everyone coming back. You think, well, sure, they're going to be great. Florida had not an easy schedule. Every year you go to Miami week 2, so they beat Miami. The teams that if you're just like a casual fan, you think, oh, JU stinks, FIU stinks. Like, there's a lot of really good baseball talent in the state of Florida, and those guys stay in state. Every once in a while, Florida Gulf Coast will have a really good team. Jacob deGrom played for Florida Gulf Coast. So it's not that they're playing bad teams. They just don't have the name recognition of a big D1 school. So I think what happened was they beat up on those teams, and then we didn't get to SEC play to really see how good that team was. Season gets canceled, so they just automatically, hey, they were number 1 when the season ended. They got everyone back, put them back at number 1. If I go back and think about 2019, that was a really tough year for Florida. I had to fly out to Lubbock, Texas to go to a regional, and those are all the same guys. So I think what's happened was the guys you thought would take the next step, like we talk about, hey, he's going from his freshman year to his sophomore year, he's going to make this big jump, or sophomore to junior. I just don't think we've seen that kind of progression. A guy like Franco Alaman, who is going to be drafted this year, hasn't pitched up to the level that they thought he was going to when he transferred in from a junior college. And then, Judd slumped in the beginning of the year. I think he really gets the bats going, and you've had some injuries. The injuries in the bullpen have really hurt you. And I think there's just a team that's kind of been up and down and just consistently inconsistent all year long.
Well, I guess as long as you just keep winning and moving forward, there's still an opportunity. All you have to do is win one game at a time.
Well, I think the problem is, so the way that they're handling the tournament with COVID is they've already announced 20 sites that can host, and Florida's one of them. If Florida loses to Kentucky on Tuesday, they could be in a situation where there's a Gainesville regional, so they're playing at home, but they're not even the number 1 seed in their regional. And talk about embarrassing. Like, yeah, we are lucky to be able to play at home, but we're not even the number 1 seeded team in our Gainesville regional. I think that's what they're trying to avoid right now.
Yeah. Well, maybe they'll do what the Tampa Bay Lightning are doing to the Florida Panthers right now. Tampa Bay obviously is the lower seed. The Florida Marlins had the higher seed, and they're whooping up on
Florida who?
Florida Panthers.
Marlins.
Florida Panthers,
Marlins,
sorry. So, never count out somebody that might be in second, but hopefully they grab that first, seed in the regional. So, Nick, there's 20 regional sites.
16. So they named 20 potential, and then the top 16 teams get to host a regional. 4 teams in each region.
Okay. And then from there, have they announced the super regionals?
A lot of teams. That's a big tournament.
Yeah, so there's the selection Monday will be this coming Monday after all of the conference tournaments. That's noon on ESPN2. So it's a 4-team, 16 regions. Each region has 4 teams, and half of them start on Thursday, half start on Friday, so it's kind of scattered. And then by Monday, you'll have, the 16 teams that are left playing to get to Omaha. They call them national seeds. If you're seeded 1 through 8, that means you'll host a regional, and if you get through, you also host a super regional.
And then if they lose, it's the next highest ranked team?
Yes.
Okay. Interesting. Well,
Florida had a chance to sneak into being a top 8 team, and that's not happening now.
If they win the SEC championship, is there a chance that they can move in? Or
I don't think so. Not if you're getting swept. I think they could have even snuck in to a top 8 seed if they would have lost the series 1-2, but not after being swept. And I don't know if Florida even has enough arms in the bullpen to play 6 games or 5 games in Hoover to get to the point where you would win a championship, a tournament championship.
What are the rules on pitchers, and how many games do they have to sit before they can pitch again if you're a starter or third?
Not Little League. There's no rules. It's just like, but
yeah, okay. Well, like
a Tommy Mace is he's going to get drafted. He's going to be a professional. Yes, he wants to win a championship this year. But like if you're going to throw my son 134 pitches on Monday and try to run him back out there Friday, we're going to have some strong words before that game, and my son won't be back on the mound. There's no rules in terms of, usage, though.
You're getting a little sassy with my questions about baseball rules.
It's definitely not Little League, though, Dan.
You're making me talk for so long.
I might just keep going.
My throat's gone.
So Gators play Kentucky first. Kentucky first. Okay. And this is just single elimination. All right. Well,
the first game. So the SC tournament makes no sense. The first games tomorrow are single elimination, and then it's double elimination until there's 4 teams left, and then it's back to single elimination. Like I said, Hoover's not for me.
That's a wild schedule there. But the show goes on, and we wish the Florida Gators baseball team the best.
Hang out with me Tuesday. Brunch with the Gators. Bring mimosas.
Yeah, I got time tomorrow morning. I didn't know he was playing for breakfast and shit on a Tuesday.
Yeah.
I'll pull up. See if I can give y'all some good luck.
There it is.
You're not helping the guys. I got to help them out a little bit.
I'm certainly not. It's been my fault. If you read these mentions, I wasn't even covering the game, and people are yelling at me on Friday night. Might have been Dan's Burners account.
No. I wasn't on Twitter all weekend. I don't think.
He's in the West.
Maybe fired off some things the other day.
He's of the West.
Oh yeah, I fired something off when I was at the airport, but I think outside of that, I was off Twitter, off social media, just trying to vibe a little bit, Nick. Well, perfect. Well, let's get into some other exciting news. We're going to bring Neil Blackmon on to the show. But before we do that, let's give a shout out to our friends over at Roof Soldier and roofsoldier.com. So if you need a new roof, or if your roof is leaking, maybe your insurance company is making you replace your roof, maybe you just bought a new house and you need a new roof, give them a call. 1-877-ROOFS-FL. Again, that's 877-ROOFS-FL. Mention Stadium and Gale, get $1,000 off a roof replacement. Again, that's roofsoldier.com, 877-ROOFS-FL. Before we bring Neil on, we're going to talk a little bit about him, but the Florida Gators made a basketball hire today. The Gators entered the day with 2 assistant coach openings. The Florida Gators announced today that they're adding Oklahoma State assistant Erik Pastrana to the staff. Pastrana has spent the last 2 seasons as an assistant at Oklahoma State and was the recruiting coordinator there as well. Oklahoma State signed the number 4 recruiting class in the country in 2020, including landing the potential first number 1 overall draft pick, potentially Cade Cunningham in that class. The Gators did lose, as we said earlier, in the couple weeks ago, that they lost Jordan Mincy to be a head coach at Jacksonville and Darius Nichols to Radford. Pastrana is originally from the state of Florida. He graduated from FSU. He worked at Kansas State under Frank Martin, spent some time at Northwest Florida State College, spent some time at FAU, Daytona State as head coach, and as an assistant at Florida Atlantic. He is a big name in the Florida basketball scene, had coached AAU for a few years with the Florida Rams as well. So Erik Pastrana is the Florida Gators' new assistant basketball coach, and we're going to bring on Neil Blackmon, who knows a hell of a lot more about men's basketball than we. Welcome to Stadium and Gale, my friend.
What's up, guys? How are y'all?
We're about to start a GoFundMe for Dan's internet is what we're going to do.
Did my internet cut out again? We'll have to bring that up with Spectrum.
I don't think Spectrum can do anything, but they can take the upgrade to business.
I got 500 MBs over here. I don't know what's going on, but
I think you have 8 MBs.
That's what it sounds like. That's what it sounds like. But Neil, enough about my internet. How are you doing this evening, my friend?
I'm good, fellas. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for hanging out, man.
We're excited to bring you on. Did a long little bio on Erik Pastrana, but what do you know about him, Neil? What does he bring to the table as the Gators' new assistant coach?
I think the two things that people are going to care most about are development, kind of a rep for a guy that can develop kids, and then I think he's the ace recruiter that can step into Darius Nichols' shoes, which I think when you look at a guy like Darius Nichols, it's just one of the best recruiters in the country. And so that was a big ask to replace somebody of his caliber on that front. But also somebody, I think Florida, their fans are not always just knee-jerk reactionary, right? Like there is some issues with developing certain types of players, not guards. Under Mike White, they've done pretty well, but at other spots. And I think that's what Erik Pastrana brings. Is a guy who's coached at the JUCO level, a guy that's coached AAU ball. And everywhere he's gone, he's had to develop kids to win. And they've done that.
Now, when you say that, I think it was Trey told us last year that Darius was kind of like the coach that they would go to in terms of, hey, I'm having girl problems, or I don't like the way Mike's using me. Any kind of spectrum of problems. Is that kind of what you're getting from Pastrana? Like he's going to be the player's coach, the guy that the guys really lean on when they need to talk to him about, like, hey, I got an F in this paper, I need to figure something out.
Yeah, I think so. I do think they're going to make another hire here in a second. And I think that's going to be more of an X and O hire, and that absolutely they think Erik Pastrana is going to be that, replace that aspect of Darius, the guy that holds the locker room together too. And he's been like that. He was just like that at Oklahoma State, which was a really different team for him because it was a real young team, real similar to what we've seen at Florida the last couple of years. This is going to be a little more like the Stephen F. Austin teams that he was an assistant with, where it's a real old team and it's just about coaxing production out of a bunch of guys that play with a chip on their shoulder for the most part. And I do think Erik Pastrana will be the guy they go to. Another thing I like about him, and I didn't mention this as the other two, is I do think it brings energy. It's not that Mincy and Nichols didn't. It's just that sometimes a new voice is good in the program. And, he's a Miami guy. It was amazing. Eric Fossey gets more than me, but the amount of DMs that Eric and I got today from coaches and people who are like, oh, that's a really good hire. That guy's going to bring juice. Like he's from Miami. It's about time they got somebody from Miami in the program. Nobody said anything. There weren't any like, oh man, I don't know about this. And we get those. We get those. So it was that. I think that collectively is good because these are all basketball people that are like, man, this is good. This is big time. But I do like the Miami energy that he'll bring too. And I think a lot of the kids are gonna connect with that.
We're big South Florida vibes on this podcast here, all of us here, including Neil.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So Neil, where you from, Neil?
No, it's my I got my Palm Beach Cardinals hat on, but yeah, no. So I'm from Atlanta, but I'm also from Jupiter. I went to Dwyer. I went to Dwyer, so.
Oh man.
Oh, nice. Dwyer, that's proud alum of that around here, man. That's prestigious stuff right there.
Yeah, there it is.
Shout out to Neil, Palm Beach County boy, man. We even right now. We might get into a little swabble with these boys right now, Neil.
I don't
Jumping me,
think
man. Jumping me.
I don't think so.
Now, Neil, one thing when I was writing like the story of today, and he's a young coach, but he seems to move around a lot. Is that just typical of young coaches in basketball, or is that something where you look at and you think, okay, this might be a hire for 2 years, 3 years, and we're trying to find a replacement?
Yeah, I mean, I think he's a riser, but I don't. So what I would say about it is that can happen with guys that are rising through the industry pretty quick. But in his case, you have to kind of look a little closer, right? Like he coached at Stephen F. Austin for Brad Underwood, and then Brad took the job at Oklahoma State and brought Mike Boynton with him, and then Mike Boynton, who is one of the best young coaches in the sport, takes the job at them when Illinois decided they finally didn't want to suck at basketball anymore and decided they would hire Underwood and spend a lot of money on their program, which, I wouldn't say it's not an Alabama type deal, right? Where they were a legit program and just needed a Saban. But like, if you want to make a comparison that's good for Illinois, there was no excuse for a program that has that much access to Chicago and is like big state U to shout he got game. Like they should not have sucked for as long as they did, and they hired Underwood, and so he's from that tree, and he's pretty much gone where those coaches were. It just happened that 3 of those years were Stephen F. Austin. I mean, the only thing that happened was he tried to get back home, and he went and worked for Dusty May for a year, which is the connection to Mike White. He was in Boca. There are worse places to spend a year coaching ball.
Ask Lane Kiffin.
Yeah, man, for real, right? And then that's it. So, I mean, the only 2 times he's left that tree are to go back home. And this is – he said it today. He said, I wouldn't have left if it weren't what he thinks is one of the elite programs in college basketball. So,
Neil, we've heard a lot of names. Well, not a lot, probably the same 5 for the last month or so. Erik Pastrana's name wasn't one of the ones that was mentioned. Is this a pretty big coup by Mike White? And did this name come out of nowhere, or had you guys been hearing some smoke for the last couple of days?
We heard some smoke for the last couple of days, but I think it's a coup given that a lot of people were really thinking that it was going to be Adam Cohen, who is the associate head coach at Stanford. And whether or not, y'all know how it goes. Like nobody ever says no, right? You never hire your second choice. So, think of that as you will, I guess. But Adam Cohen was in the mix for a while. They talked to him, multiple conversations, and they end up hiring Erik Pastrana, who had connections to Dusty, and then Mike Boynton and Mike White are good friends. Would
they have been like the similar type of coach?
Yes. Both. It would have. They were looking to check the ace recruiter players coach box. The only difference is that Adam Cohen runs a little more of the offense at Stanford than Erik Pastrana has handled at Oklahoma State. But I think the second hire that Florida will make will be the offensive guy. So I do think they're going to check the boxes that the fan base wants smartly, right? Let's hire an offensive coordinator or somebody who can get that thing rolling a little bit. That ain't going to be Brent Pease. And then let's hire, a guy that has the chops to recruit.
Do they need a defensive coordinator? Because I think there's just right across the street, they can get some help there.
I mean, other than this year, Mike could coordinate the defense for Dan, right? Like,
yeah.
Now,
hey,
go ahead. So,
real quick, Neil, what do you think about? We made some additions to the basketball roster, and some people are optimistic about next season. How do you feel about the roster that we have now?
So I think that some of the people that are saying Florida did really well in the transfer portal are correct. The 2 things they did is get older, and they got more balanced. And Billy Donovan used to say, if you want to win in this sport, you either need to rip up and hit 4 stars, 5 stars all the time and then have them hit, or you got to get old and stay old. And Florida tried one path and, should have gone to the Sweet 16. We all know that. Should have won that game, but didn't. And now they've gone a different direction. They got older, stayed older. Arkansas just did that last year. They replaced 10 guys, Silk, hit the portal for 10 dudes and went to the Elite Eight. And they were just an old team. They added one two big time recruits for them, whereas Florida has one. But that was it. They blended two big time recruits and a bunch of transfers with an old team and went deep. So I think this will be a different type of Florida team, real balanced. I like the idea of getting a bunch of kids that are hungry too, that like, I don't care that none of them came from teams that won a lot last year. Penn State has won plenty of games where Myron Jones came from. They just kind of had a tough year last year. But I like, you get the best player on a mediocre team. He probably shows up pretty hungry.
Right.
With the grad transfers and now the one-time transfer, I think it's going to be easier to get old and stay old as well.
Yeah, I mean, the portal is changing the sport more than the one and done ever did because there were only a handful.
That feels a little weird though. Like just getting these quick rosters and making runs, it just feels weird though. Like, how do y'all feel about the feel of the game with that though?
It does feel weird, and I think one reason I like the Pastrana hire in getting the recruiter is you got to do both. You can't just hit the portal and flip it over every year. You have to do what Arkansas did. I mean, like I said, they signed two big time recruits. Florida, Kawasi Reeves is more ready to play than Trey was, and Trey would tell you that. And he's more ready to pay because Trey needed like a year of Preston Green, right? Like he needed to lift weights and figure out how to take care of his body. And he's definitely more ready than Scotty was, which only basketball people really knew because they were kind of like, Scotty is an elite athlete and a great defensive player, but was never going to figure it out. He's a guy that's going to get to the pros and figure it out offensively. He's going to be like, there's some coaches going to be like, do you want to play in the G League forever or not? Here's what you have to do on offense. And I mean, should Mike have done that? Sure, maybe. But you're right. So you got to do both because it does feel strange. And also there's the chance that the chemistry of it just blows up every season. Like you're mixing guys. That's tough.
Neil, which transfer or two transfers are you most excited about?
Man, the two I'm most excited about are CJ Felder, who I had a assistant after he committed to Florida from FSU that texted me and said, "Oh, y'all finally got a dog that isn't Keontae." And like, I kind of was like, ow, man, that stings a little bit. But CJ Felder was probably the best player on a bad team in the ACC. And a guy that if he weren't on a bad team would have been ACC Defensive Player of the Year. And can really, really rebound, which, if you watch some of Florida's games that they lost, like the late game in Knoxville to Tennessee where they just got clocked on the glass, I think he brings a toughness that you need when you play on the road, especially if you want to play the way that Mike's best teams have played, which is to be tenacious defensively and then get easy baskets from your defense. CJ is going to be a guy that helps them do that. The other guy that I'm super excited about is Myron Jones. Look, Noah Locke shot 41% from three-point range in his 3 years on campus. That's really good. The thing I like about Myron is that he shot 42.5 in a better league. I mean, so he's coming from the Big Ten, a better basketball league. It's like if Florida brought in Justin Shorter, like think of the opposite, right? Like if a very good SEC wide receiver bounced to the Big Ten for his senior year, you'd expect him to replicate that production. The key with Myron is going to be, can Mike put him in spots to do things that he's successful? He's a great shooter off screens. Florida doesn't do that a lot, right? He's not a guy that's going to create his own look. Florida got some of those guys like Flanders Fleming. Can Florida find ways to get him open?
Well, I mean, last year was different. Obviously, you built everything around Keontae, and then now you're, while trying to play 2 games a week, trying to figure things out. Do you think Mike has that capability, or is it the next coach that comes in, the guy that we're calling, the quote-unquote offensive coordinator, the bigger X's and O's guys, where, hey, we really need to lean on that new coach because we need to not, the square peg round hole, need to figure out how to get these guys in positions to be successful and where they are going to be better players?
Yeah, I think they've got to do a little better job of putting players in position to succeed on offense. I think, I know that the defense was not quite as good as it had been last year, but I think a lot of that changes if you get Keontae on the floor, right? And I also think I like Omar Payne. I think he's a nice kid, great family, but I didn't think he was ready for high-level defense in college basketball. Like if you can't defend the pick and roll, you have a problem as a quick big in college. Like it's going to be a long adjustment for you. And like, will Omar be good at Illinois eventually? Probably, but he was not ready. So Florida has pick and roll weakness, which CJ Felder is going to fix some of that, I think, just because he's so quick and so long. But offensively, that's been my biggest complaint with the white basketball in the last couple of years. And it really is the last couple of years. Like, I mean, Andrew Nembhard, when their biggest play late in games a lot was if they couldn't get Keontae isolated, it was like Andrew Nembhard used his size to back someone down and shoot. That's not great stuff. Florida's got to run better actions the second action, right? And what I mean by that is Florida will run one set, and if the first set doesn't work, what happens when you have to reset everything? And I think that's when Florida gets – yeah. Well, and it's not even ISO. Like Florida will run – one pick and roll or one ball screen, and if that gets blown up, then everybody's stagnant and nobody's moving, and that happens a little too much. So I do think that Florida's got to do better at that, and I do think that the second assistant they hire will be somebody that is capable of helping them fix that. Then the question becomes, is Mike going to listen to him consistently? Yeah. I think he will do.
Well, go ahead, Neil. I know you have your own podcast, but you can just break the news to who's the coach. We'll just stay here on Stadium and Gale.
Yeah, man. No, I'm good. Look. I think that they're going to hire Christian Webster from Virginia Tech. That is the name that's been around. He was the offensive coordinator at Harvard for Tommy Amaker when Tommy Amaker got there, and Harvard ran really great stuff. And then he tutored under Mike Young at Virginia Tech, and y'all talked to Eric Foss before the NCAA. Like Virginia Tech runs beautiful stuff. Like, I mean, even when they were playing Florida, like they were just running stuff that was like leagues better than some of the things that Florida was doing. But and that was actually a game where Florida ran pretty good offense.
I've got my story's already in the back end on Rivals for that one, so thank you. That makes me feel better. But yeah, I had to actually stop talking to Eric when he was talking about Virginia Tech. I got him going, and I couldn't unwind him.
No, man, I like them. They just run. They run really nice offense.
What about him? What's his future look like? Do you think he's a couple year guy, or is he? I literally know nothing about him, and I didn't have time to research.
Sure.
Is he going to be a guy that's going to be here for a few years? He's a guy that's still climbing the ladder, or
do you like the hire?
Yeah, well, I like the
hasn't
idea.
been made yet. Yeah.
No, I like Webster because of the time. Like if they had hired him straight after he'd been the offensive coordinator at Harvard, like I get it, they had good efficiency numbers, whatever. But it's still like, oh man, you hired an assistant from the Ivy League, right? But I think you hire a guy who's on a staff where they just won ACC Coach of the Year and are way ahead of schedule. Like from Virginia Tech, you pluck their offensive mind off their staff. That's pretty good. So I like the hire. Do I think that he's a guy that is gone quick? I think that's a risk with Webster. Mm-hmm. And I think it's a risk more than with Pastrana. I think if Christian Webster, if Florida plays real well next season and surprises some people, makes a deep tournament run, then yeah, I mean, Christian Webster's young. He's a black guy. He's got a degree from Harvard. He's really smart. He's personable. What about that doesn't say head coach right now?
So comparing these two.
That's fair, but that's no doubt. Silk, what I like about this though is that it's the white guy. Now, granted he's Cuban American, but still, it's that the ace recruiter is Pastrana.
Right.
Because how many times doesn't matter. Like Jordan Mincy, one of the best defensive coaches in America. Like everybody thinks that. And people always talked about his recruiting. It's like he's the worst recruiter on the staff.
So, Neil, if Webster and Pastrana is hired, if Webster gets hired, do you like that combo better than Mincy and Nichols?
I like it better as a staff. The composition of the staff I like better because I think it allows Mike to stop meddling with the offense. And I think Mike would disagree with me, and that's fine. But Fawcett agrees with me, which makes me feel better.
I think the fan base goes with you and Erik.
I trust Fawcett too.
You're winning the battle of public opinion on that one.
Look, I think the reason that Florida was a top 20 defense under White the first 4 seasons. That's elite defensively out of 350 teams. And forget like the 250 that aren't in the Power 6 or whatever, because it's a Power 6 in hoops. But, Florida was really, really good on defense. And it was always about, can they do enough offensively to win? Well, look, the last years, Mike has gotten more and more involved offensively since Dusty May left. And I think that has hurt the entire operation. I think that Mike the CEO needs to focus on being good at recruiting, focus on being good at evaluating transfers, which is something he's done successfully at Florida, and stay away from meddling in the offense. And I think that Christian Webster helps him do that. So I like the staff composition better, but you'll never hear me say anything bad about Jordan Mincy or Darius Nichols, who I think are both going to do really well. Although, Jacksonville is such a tough job, but we'll see.
Is it a good thing when you're telling the head coach he shouldn't be meddling with the team and just be CEO and just recruit?
Well, he's a great defensive mind, right? So I know
Must change.
Yeah, and and Nick knows I hate the comps to Champ because Mike's never going to get to a point if Mike gets fired, it's going to be because he loses in the first round too much and the team never wins the SEC. It's not going to be because the whole operation blows up and he goes 4-8. Although I think Blanco Wayne is hilarious. I got to tell you guys that. That is objectively funny. But one thing we never have to worry about Blanco Wayne doing is going the full McElwain and going having a losing season and creating death threats and embarrassing the university, right? That's never going to happen.
Right.
With Mike, it's just going to be dude, you didn't win enough. Sorry.
And another thing with White, and listen, Florida's in a situation where they were on probation in the late 80s, early 90s, and then said, we're never doing that again. You just had that happen with football where you're on probation. It's not like a Will Wade situation where LSU just doesn't care. Florida will care if Mike White is on tape saying we made a strong-ass offer, and Mike's not going to get you in trouble with cheating on the recruiting trail, and I think Florida values that right now. Yeah, no, it does not hurt that that he is one of the most well-liked coaches in the building. Maybe the most outside of Brian Shelton, who just won a natty, right? Whoever's the latest natty winning coach is the favorite coach on campus. So it's Brian right now. Yeah, there you go. But yeah, no, to Silk's point, would we prefer a head coach where we're not telling him to stay away from one part of the operation? I think he got overextended, and maybe it's the way that I put it came off badly.
No, good.
Neil, Al Pickens, that's what it is, right? Al Pickens.
Yeah.
There was some talk before, maybe a month or so ago, that he was a potential candidate at Illinois. There's a potential that he might be going somewhere else. How did Florida retain him? Did they pay him more? Did they just convince him that the opportunity here was just as good, or what happened with that? Because I don't know if we ever got the full story. Yeah, it was essentially, and I think this is, again, we'll never
no one will ever confirm this unless someone inside the building tells Erik or me or one of y'all. But I think Adam Cohen didn't want to take the demotion from associate head coach at Stanford to assistant at Florida after moving his family across the country. And Al Pinkins gets a raise and stays associate head coach. And I think a lot of the Illinois noise was about, salary.
And Florida has a full roster going into next year, or is there any other potential transfer moves?
I think that Florida's going to add someone. Castleton almost certainly will return. So that reoccupies that spot that they're holding. And then I think the question becomes, what does Florida do? Do they take a flyer on a 3-star type freshman just to add another freshman because playing time is already going to be spread out? Or do they try to hit the portal, which, names are still going in. We saw some big names just last week with Katie Johnson from Georgia, although he made his decision real quick. It's pretty funny and also sad to see that Georgia is the basketball school where players leave to go to other SEC programs that are better. But that's kind of what they've been reduced to in that sport. And, it is what it is. I don't think anybody's shedding any tears for him.
Yeah, you hate to see it, huh?
Yeah, you do. You hate to see it. But I think Florida could go the portal route. My guess is that it will be someone young, maybe a big. There's a kid from Hamilton Heights, Tennessee. They've been recruiting named Brenton Mutombo. I don't believe that there's any relation to Kimbe, but yeah. So I think that might be the guy they signed. He would be a center.
Well, Gator Twitter will just make up a relation like they did with Tyreek Sapp. So,
yeah, that's true. That's true.
Well, also, can you dispel this rumor that was on Twitter today? Erik Pastrana not related to Travis Pastrana.
The famous dirt bike rider.
No relation.
I'm neither confirming or denying that.
Oh, that's what we need. That's what we need. A little mystery.
Yeah, he is related to Frank Martin, who was yeah, go ahead.
My friends used to say that Neil knows my dad, that my dad looks like Frank Martin, but I think it was only when Frank was scowling while on the bench, and they're like, yeah, I've seen your dad yell at you like that. That's the same face.
So, yeah, man, your dad does look a little like Frankie Martin.
Right?
Are they related? Because then you'd be related to Erik Pastrana.
And Travis.
Yeah.
This show's going off the rails.
I like it. They play cousins.
Yeah, I like this one.
Everybody's got a cousin in Miami.
That's true. That's absolutely true.
Well, Neil, we'll let you go. Give everybody a reminder where they can follow you. Talk about your podcast. Talk about all sorts of things that you want to do to pump your tires a bit.
Thanks, guys. Yeah, so I'm on Twitter at NW Blackmon. You might not want to follow that one because if you don't want European soccer tweets blowing up your feed every now and then, that might not be your one of choice. But I do. You can find that and my football stuff and basketball stuff at Saturday Down South, or follow me at Florida BB Hour on Twitter, and that's our podcast, Florida Basketball Hour. Erik Fall.
Yeah.
Did you lose me?
Oh, I lost you for a second.
Yeah, so I was just going to say, check us out, Florida Basketball Hour. We're on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all that stuff. Give us a listen. Drop us a rating. Those things help. So any of that is good. And make sure if you haven't left a review and a rating for Stadium and Gale, you do that too.
Look at that. What a guy.
Look at that.
I got all my dogs on automatic download, Neil. So you just automatic rip, man. Even if I ain't listening that week, I don't get to it. You're gonna get this download regardless, bro. That's how I move.
Hey, man, I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Just get my back the next time Dwyer plays Aquinas in the playoffs.
Man, y'all owe me money, man. Dwyer, like I lost a lot of money Matt Elam's senior year when they played Glade Central. I bet against the hometown. I bet against the hometown and then I lost. So you owe me some money, Neil.
All right, man. I'll make sure next time I see you.
All right, man. Thanks for hanging out.
Appreciate it, Neil.
Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.
Neil Blackmon. Can't believe that was his first time on the show.
There's really no better place to go for basketball news than Neil and Erik. I think Gator Twitter was trying to get Erik on staff.
I think I argued with Neil one time with basketball on Twitter. One time I was just like, yeah, I'm cool. He just knew way too much stuff, and like I was running out of Blanco jokes. So I was just like, yeah, let me just get out of this conversation real quick.
You're like, damn, I ran through all these jokes I wrote down.
Yeah, he actually got stats.
He's got numbers. I'm just trying to let these jokes fly.
And he knows what they mean, unlike me. I just post stats. I don't often know what they mean.
I was trying to distract him with memes. He
was laser focused.
Dude, that's wild. Well, Neil, that was good. That was good stuff there, man. So shout out to Neil. Go give him a follow if that is your favorite podcast. We're his favorite podcast. So your favorite podcast. So go check him out. Exciting stuff there. But let's give a shout out to Carlton Black. Let's get a little bit into football. Shout out to Carlton Black with Cardinal Financial. He's licensed in Florida, Georgia, Tennessee, and Virginia. So again, any type of home loan, conventional loan, FHA loan, construction loan, refinancing, anything that you might need in Florida, Georgia, Tennessee, or Virginia, give him a call. 404-769-5501, carlton.black@cardinalfinancial.com. Again, carlton.black@cardinalfinancial.com. Over the weekend, the Florida Gators landed a commitment from Missouri transfer defensive back Jederis Perkins, who we talked a little bit about, I think a week ago, or maybe it's 2 weeks ago. His name came up. He was formerly the number 5 JUCO player in the country last year, signed with Missouri back in February. In April, he announced that he would be looking to transfer. Former teammate of DeJuan Black, who just enrolled on campus a few weeks ago at East Mississippi Community College. But the Gators grab a cornerback from Missouri via the transfer portal on Saturday. Silk, Nick, your thoughts on Jederis Perkins?
6'2", rangy kid. I was concerned about the opposite corner of Kyer Elam. I just wasn't a huge believer in where Jaden Hill was by the end of last year. So I kind of was penciling in the freshman Marshall to come in, probably to play some corner in my mind. So I think it's a good get. This kid can play 2 years. I think he's going to play. I don't know like what any film anybody else is watching, but I think this kid can play. I think he's going to be the starting corner opposite of Kyer. He played a nickel as well. He's a guy that can play multiple positions. They like those versatile guys.
You're not sold yet on Jaden?
No, I think he's a little on the slender side, man. I think he need to put on some size. I don't think he's ready to play on the outside in the SEC, get off blocks with wide receivers, and I don't know. I haven't seen it from a physical standpoint. I think he has a lot of potential, but I don't think he's ready to be on the outside right now. That guy.
And maybe getting an older guy in, give you just that year buffer.
Yeah. Yeah, then Kyer's going after this year, so it's not even a buffer. Like this guy may be a 2-year starter for you.
Well, don't forget about my guy Jason Marshall, though.
Yeah, I like Marshall. I had him penciled in as a starter in the fall because I thought he would eventually take over Jaden. Mm-hmm. Just from a physical standpoint, once he gets a little bit more acclimated to the game speed, he got to play spring. Over the summer, he's going to work out and be working out with these guys. So I think in the fall, he's going to be ready to go as well. This upped our room. Now we got able bodies that we're throwing out there at corner and not just trying to – after Jaden goes down, then what? We got a freshman. So that's a really good extra body, a guy that's experienced. I don't know what happened at Missouri. I hope his commitment sticks because he just played the spring and got out of there. But I think it's a good ad for the staff. They haven't missed in the transfer portal.
Here's one that I just thought of when you were saying that. Is there, because the cornerback, defensive back room is a room that I want as many guys as you can, as much talent. Is there a room where you could have too many guys? Like Florida, like this year, the running back. Do you have potentially too many running backs? Would you? Yeah. I know at quarterback, if you have more than 4, you're probably going to lose one through a transfer portal. You really want to have like one in each class. Is there a room where you don't want more? Is that a stupid question? I don't even know if I'm framing it the right way.
I think our running back room is crowded right now. I would say this probably the most crowded room as far as like. I mean, how many running backs can get on the field?
Nick,
I think it's a different position than like DB. Yeah. Them guys are more flexible and they can play different positions. Running back, bro, like ain't a lot of snaps there. So if that room gets crowded, it gets weird.
Mm-hmm. Nick, that's a
quarterback.
That's a good question. I was just going through the roster right now. Of the people that we know are going to get playing time next year, Kyer Elam, obviously, Jason Marshall, obviously, Jaden Hill, obviously, just because we've seen them play. Then after that, you have Avery Helm, you have Ethan Pouncey, who was highly regarded. You had Jahari Rogers, who was highly regarded, or was he the one that just he transferred? I'm sorry. Yeah. And then you have Jordan Young. You have, I think, another addition or 2 in there. And then you have Patrick Moorer, who was a walk-on. I know he got some burn, during last season. And I know he played, quite a bit in the spring game. I'm not saying that we should expect a lot out of him, but, I think to answer your question, I don't think it's too crowded right now. I think next year it gets pretty crowded.
Crowded with what? Mid? Like, I don't like.
Depending on how honest, like. Well, no. I mean, you're exactly right, Corey. I mean, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's crowded with like great, exceptional talent, but I think it's crowded in terms of you're going to have a bunch of freshmen, a bunch of redshirt freshmen, and a bunch of sophomores on that roster next year that I can see next year or potentially, after this summer, there being a slew of people that transfer.
Right.
I guess that's what I was getting at, roster management. Because if you have 6 tight ends on the roster, what are you doing? Like, you don't need 6 scholarship tight ends. But if you've got 15 DBs on my roster, I'm cool. That's fine. You can slide them around, nickel, outside. We can find a spot for you.
Special teams, like you just need defensive back.
There's some places to put you. But, like 6 tight ends, okay, there's no reason to be using scholarships on that many tight ends. So I guess that's what I was getting for. Like, is there a room where you don't want more? Like, you want to sign another defensive back? I'm cool. But is there a room where you're like, no, we're good here?
I just think they go out there. They don't waste like getting guys out of the portal. I think when they go to get guys out of the portal, it's a need, and they usually hit on it. So
that seems like a business transaction. Like in terms of recruiting, you're the 5-star high school kid. They love you. I think when you're coming in as a grad transfer or transfer portal, it's like, hey, this is how we view you playing next year. If you're down with this, this is what we're offering you. But there's no like sugarcoating it when you're talking to transfer portal graduate transfer kids.
Yeah, I think they just do a better job articulating themselves to adults and not kids. They're missing something in translation with the kids and recruiting because they hit with the adults in the portal.
But maybe they're just adapting better than other schools because it's good. The one-time transfer waiver is going to change everything. And maybe Florida just got into the transfer portal wave better. Maybe it was just, hey, we're not getting the high school kids we need, so we got to supplement it somewhere else.
I ain't mad at it. I just think that it's just something they missing. Mm-hmm. That's the obvious thing, like, right? Because they land and they compete against other big-time programs to get these transfers. Mm-hmm. So somehow we find a way to win, like, transfer battles, but we can't win those battles on the recruiting trail with the 16 to 17, 18-year-old kid.
You gotta be able to do both.
Because those kids require the TikTok videos and the top 10s and the edits and all that stuff. So we're missing something in that department. Regardless of what it takes to get them, we're missing something in that department when it comes to bringing the high school elite kids in. They need to figure out what that is because we're doing good with the transfer portal.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree. Nick, did you watch any film? I know that you're not the big recruiting guy, but did you watch anything on Jederis Perkins at all?
Dan, I was at the wedding all weekend.
Well, Nick, you had an entire day of work. I spent some time watching him today because I did my homework. I like him a lot. Like you said, still big, rangy kid. I went on to 247 to watch his video because Nick said he wasn't going to do his homework. So had to give somebody else a click. Like you said, Silk 6'2", 185 pounds. Plays the ball really well. I think that he's got really quick hips. Seems to have really quick reaction time. If he gets beat or gets jumped on a route a bit, he seems to have really good closing speed. The one negative that I did see, and certainly this is a highlight film, and I don't know much more, but he doesn't seem like a really solid tackler. He seems like the guy that kind of throws his body to make a tackle instead of wrapping up, which is something that I know Florida has struggled with from a tackling perspective over the last few years. So would definitely like to see that improve. But from a speed perspective, he seems like he definitely held his weight there, seemed to high point some balls, and then also seemed to be able to pluck the ball, over some receivers as well. So really like what I saw out of him. He was a two-way player at times. I think he also played running back at East Mississippi as well, or at least got some carries there. So obviously a versatile player, but really like what we could potentially get out of him. And I think he definitely shores up some question marks that we had behind Jason Marshall and Jaden Hill. So excited to see what he might be able to do. I don't know, Nick, you might know, what is the process in terms of him signing? Does he just come onto campus and sign when he enrolls, or does he sign like now? Or
I'm guessing right now. So summer A, that the registration is done for summer A. So he would be a summer B enrollee, which means he would be getting in right around the time that we're getting into fall camp and things like that. So you're gonna miss some stuff, but like right now, guys are working out on their own. Emory Jones is up in Atlanta working out with his quarterback coach, and guys are kind of doing their own thing. Some guys are in town, so you're not missing anything super structured right now. But it's also a different position where playing DB, you're not going to have to figure out, the playbook as much in terms of like being a running back and having to pick up pass pro and know your plays and wide receivers and all that. So he's at a position, and he's a little bit older, where you're not worried about him, not being on campus right now.
Perfect. Nick, I put his highlight film on our StreamYard, so you can take a watch if you want to give any final analysis. So Silk, we named all of the DBs. We'll go through it one more time. Besides Kyer Elam, who we know will be in every down back, you have Jason Marshall, Jaden Hill, Avery Helm, Ethan Pouncey, Jordan Young, Patrick Moore, and now Jederis Perkins. Who do you think gets the most playing time, and do you have a surprise player out of that group that you are excited to see?
You talking about the younger guys?
Oh, yeah, I'm just talking about anybody anybody besides Kyer Elam at cornerback.
Bro, it's just I don't have enough. Like, practice has been so close, bro. I haven't really seen these kids to vouch for anything, man. I think Avery Ham has a lot of potential. We'll see what happens. He had a lot of upside. A lot of these kids just had a lot of upside and speed. I just gotta see more, bro. From what I seen last year, Jaden Hill was okay. Mm-hmm. We had our secondary was so bad that we wanted any type of production, and he was just okay. But I wasn't excited about him being the outside guy. The freshman Marshall, those are the guys I'm excited about, man. Mm-hmm. All the freshman DBs, those guys are just Donovan, McMillan, those guys. Like I'm excited about those kids, man.
I'm excited about some of the safeties. I think more so like Kamar Wilcoxon. I'm excited to see where they fit him in.
Where's he playing at?
I think you can put him at nickel. They have him listed as a safety, but I think he's played some nickel. And, a guy like Trevez, I think, has a chance to start. It should be probably penciled in as a starter next to Trey Dean right now. So there's some safeties that I'm, really excited about.
The elephant in the room is, I think, Amari Burney. Like every week that go by, it seems like he's like being forgot. Like, where do you put him at?
Yeah,
I think
right next to you on the
this
sideline,
guy,
probably.
he can play nickel as well. He's 6'2". So I'm trying to figure out where they put Bernie at on the field.
Right next to Todd Grantham, I think. He's not that guy that we thought he was. Like, he's not the Jelani Jenkins in coverage.
They still gonna put him out there,
but he'll be a junior, so he's definitely gonna get playing time.
He has to play.
Those are just the rules.
I'm the rules.
Yeah, we don't make them. We just follow them.
And then one more surprise. I don't know how much he'll play on defense, but maybe on special teams. Finley Graham. I think he was in line to be like a punt return, kick return last year.
Spring though.
Well, yeah. Well, he lost last year with the forearm injury, and then injured in the spring a little bit. But he's a guy who I think on special teams can be a kind of an impact player if he can stay healthy.
Right.
Is there anybody else that you guys are excited about at defensive back? One of the players that I think might get some playing time that maybe we're not talking about as much is Jordan Young. I know that he did really well in Gator High School here in Tampa.
He had a really good spring too.
Right, and I know that the coaching staff was high on him. Again, I don't think that Florida will play him a ton just because of his age and because of some of the people that are ahead of him. But I see him having, of the names of the people that I named, besides Jason Marshall, I think Jordan Young, has the best career out of those guys.
That's a dandy take.
That is.
I'll take it. But
we're here for the takes. We got to put ourselves out there.
Our DB recruiting got to step up a little bit. I like the past season. It was very solid, but the roster right now ain't where it's been in the past. Right. That's just my take. Like, I'm just not excited about the guys that we're gonna have to force out there because they're like upperclassmen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, one of the things that I did notice about Jederis Perkins, though, is that he's a guy that likes to celebrate, so he'll fit right in to this team. He's one of those guys that the ball gets overthrown and
that's every DB. That's DB 101 now. It doesn't matter where the ball is thrown. If it's not caught on you, it's no fly zone.
Yeah, I do that in the hallway just for
Oh man. Well, so if you could give us a quick. Well, you know what? We got a few other things to talk about before we move on to Gator News of the Week. The number 1 jersey. I don't think it's been announced. Has it yet? Who do you guys think gets the number 1 jersey on offense or defense for next season?
I think offense they're giving it to Cope. I think it's already kind of out there.
Okay, that might be my bad.
Well, Cope put it out there, but Cope puts a lot of stuff on social media.
Yeah.
Well, if Cope said it, I believe it.
And then Cox has it on defense.
Oh well, then never mind. Well, that was a conversation. And then finally, which wide receiver? We talked a little bit about this last week when we were talking about running back because we strayed a little bit. Which wide receiver that maybe we're not talking? We'll stick with the theme that maybe we're not talking about as much. So not a Jacob Copeland, maybe not a Justin Shorter. Are you most excited about for next season?
Jamarcus Weston.
Okay.
Yeah, Weston me. Rolled through Clemson this past weekend. And I thought about him riding through there, man. I think he's gonna have a breakout season, man. So Weston me.
That would be my guy. I'll go with Jaquavion Frazier's though. I think they can kind of be similar players. And
our receiver room's so big, bro.
They're huge. I mean, 6'3", 6'2", 6'4", 6'3", 6'3". Like Cope's the small one in the receiver room at 6 foot, but it looks like a damn professional bodybuilder in the room. But the room is huge. Justin Shorter, 6'5".
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, guys are huge, man.
We are often again forgetting the Great White Hope, Trent Winnemore. I think that he's a guy that he's a baller. He had a good season last year in the times that he played. He high points the ball. He's physical. I think he's going to get a lot of playing time because he's a blocker as well. So I'm probably most excited about him. I think that he is incredibly athletic. I think that he runs well. I think that he completes that room. I think that you've got a lot of speed. I think that you've got a lot of height, obviously, and size. But I think as a total overall package, Trent Winnemore is a guy that I'm very excited about. Maybe not the flashiest guy in there, but
He
I
is
think that he's a
flashy.
guy.
Flashy. 360 dunk.
Well, you can't 360 dunk on
The man
football.
got sauce. The man got sauce. Then I don't know what you be watching, but Witt got some sauce, man.
Who said he didn't have sauce?
Dan just saw a white receiver, blonde hair, and he goes, "You know what? Lunch pail. He's
Right.
first in, last out.
See, this is where
Gets the most out of the least that he has.
he first in, last out type of guy.
Coach's son.
Coach's son, yeah. Just a real go-getter.
That room, like looking at it, I think I forget because like they've lost so much. They've lost so much talent. But then you look at that room. I'm not as big in recruiting. Is this just like were these guys super high rated, or are we talking about like Billy's just doing a good job developing these guys? I mean, obviously,
these guys. No, Billy went and got some guys though. Like he didn't get no 3-star gyms. No, he went and got some guys.
Well, we didn't know Whitmore was going to play because he played all over the place at Buchholz, and it was like, oh, maybe they start him at safety. I think they figured it out. He should be playing receiver, but like Weston, Reynolds, obviously Shorter was a transfer, but like Frazier's. Oh, can't forget Rick Wells.
Yeah, can't forget Rick Wells. Vari will be in our mentions.
Yeah.
I mean, shout out to Rick Wells.
Shout out to Rick Wells. Just graduated.
Only one football, bro. I don't know what they're gonna do with it, but it's only one. I think a lot of it's gonna go on like Emery's chemistry. I think he got some good chemistry. I heard with Jacob Copeland. They played on second team a lot all these years. So the guys that he's been throwing to these last few years as a backup, he's gonna have a lot of chemistry with. It's gonna be fun to watch, man. I'm excited. There's a lot of hype behind Emery, man. People not hype, but I think somebody had posted. I read on one of these apps that Emery's the highest rated QB recruit that Dan Mullen has had. I think since like Tebow or something.
Speaking of Tim Tebow, shout out, officially signed by Silk's Jacksonville Jaguars.
You got the 85 jersey coming in yet, Silk?
Yeah, I'm lying a little bit over here about the wins we're about to get, but I ain't ready to buy the 85 jersey yet. Shout out to the new Ocho Cinco.
I read a wild statistic the other day, and unfortunately it was by Darren Rovell. But he said that Tim Tebow, let me find it here real quick. I'm almost there. I wasn't ready to do this. So Tim Tebow's Jacksonville Jaguars jersey is the best-selling NFL jersey at the moment. This was as of 5/21, so Friday. He is the first player to have a best-selling jersey with 5 different teams. So pretty wild, pretty incredible stuff by Tim Tebow. Obviously did it with the Denver Broncos, Jacksonville Jaguars, the New York Jets.
You couldn't imagine like anything he puts his name on sale.
Patriots.
Yep, he was
this
the best
is just a jersey, but I think if he put his name on like a bottle of like water, it'll sell. Anything he put his face on, it will sell.
Yep. And then he was also the best-selling jersey in Major League Baseball for a while. So just an incredible brand recognition for Tim Tebow. The tight end room for Jacksonville doesn't look exceptional. Not saying that he's going to make the roster, but he has a chance to go out there and give it his best shot. I likened this to just using your network, right? I work in recruiting and headhunting and all that stuff. We always talk about leveraging your network to try to find your next job. And here Tim Tebow is, calling up his contacts when he lost his last job, ready for his next one, instead of going to LinkedIn like the rest of us regular people.
I was tough on Tim when he decided to go play baseball. And then I realized like he's going to low A. The guy that gets cut from the low A roster to put Tim Tebow on it, probably going to go pro in something else other than baseball. You only have 50. The NFL is cutthroat. Like Herb has done Tim a solid by giving him, a contract and a tryout. If he's not one of the best 53, he's not going to be on the roster. Like the relationship can only get you in the door. It can't, sit you down at the table and cook your steak for you. So if Tim makes the team, it's not because, hey, we need to sell some jerseys. They'll sell enough Trevor Lawrence jerseys. They'll be okay. So I'm not against the people being, hating on people are hating on Kelvin Benjamin getting another opportunity too. If it's your dream to be a pro baseball player, pro football player, and you have the opportunity to do it, go chase it. Whether you're 36 or 37, go chase it.
Yeah, it's just scary, bro. Getting your head banged in at this age,
That's He's got some miles on that head. Steve Adazio made sure that he was running right behind the center for a couple of years.
I don't know. That Kentucky hit scared the shit out of me too.
Yeah, it was a scary game. Well, best of luck to Timothy Richard Tebow. I think I called him Timothy Robert Tebow one time. People got mad.
What did I do?
Why'd you laugh my ass off? What's going on?
Oh, jeez Louise.
Respond to
Spencer. All right, so give us.
He was a virgin the last time he played in the NFL. That is a fact.
That is a fact. And now he's married to Miss Universe. What a wild ride.
Getting them
pun intended, you know?
What a career.
Brand recognition.
Well, so let's give a shout out to our friend Greg Brunt.
Shout out to the great folks at Brunt Insurance and Financial Services. Anything you need insured, from the Panhandle to the Keys, my man Greg got you. Home, auto, life insurance, renter's insurance, anything you may need insured, my man Greg got you. Visit bruntinsurance.com or give him a call at 954-589-2204. Again, visit bruntinsurance.com or give him a call at 954-589-2204. Big coverage.
Very good. Very good. Well, it's everybody's favorite time of the show. Actually, nobody's ever told me this is their favorite time of the show, but we still do it anyway. So shout out to former Stadium and Gale host Ahmad Black, who was named the other day to be Mulberry High School's defensive back coach. So congratulations to Ahmad. Best of luck in the start of your coaching career.
Shout out to Ahmad.
In women's soccer, the Florida Gators announced today that Tony Amato is going to be leading the Gators soccer program. He has spent a career at Rollins College, at Stephen F. Austin, and then most recently he was with Arizona. He is taking over for Becky Burley, who is the only coach in the University of Florida's 26-year soccer history. So Tony Amato will be joining the staff here today. Scott Strickland announced, so it's an exciting time to welcome a new coach to the University of Florida. In other baseball news, the Florida Gators baseball team has announced that 4 players were named to the 2021 SEC Baseball Award team. Outfielder Judd Fabian was named as a first-team All-SEC player, as well as to the SEC All-Defensive team. Left-handed pitcher Hunter Barco was named newcomer to the All-SEC team. Catcher Nathan Hickey was also a member of the newcomer All-SEC team. And outfielder Sterling Thompson, must be his last name, freshman All-SEC team, was also named. Nick, do you know the difference between a newcomer and the freshman team?
I think with the transfers and then with COVID, they added that. So Sterling Thompson is an actual freshman. Nathan Hickey and Hunter Barco we call them COVID freshmen. They were here last year, but every spring sport athlete got a full year of eligibility back. So they're freshmen technically, but second-year players. So they are newcomers, not technically freshmen.
Okay. Well, perfect. Well, congratulations to those 4 players on their honors. A great award for themselves. In men's golf, they came in 5th in their regional after shooting I think the second lowest round on the final day of the tournament to sneak in right ahead of Denver in that 5th spot, and they're going to be advancing to the SEC tournament finals. I believe those are in Scottsdale, Arizona this year, so those begin on Friday. So best of luck to men's golf. Women's lacrosse, who had been on quite a tear, unfortunately did lose to Syracuse 17-11 in the round of 8. So congratulations on a great season, ladies, and best of luck next season. Softball advances to the Super Regional after going 3-0 in their regional, beating USF in the final game 8-0. 3 members of the Florida women's volleyball team were announced that they're going to train with the 2021 USA Volleyball Women's Collegiate National Team. I believe there's 29 total players that were invited, and 3 players, Tiara Caesar, Thayer Hall, and Marley Monserez were all invited to head out to Anaheim, California in the middle of June to practice with those folks. And that is your shortest Gator news of the week.
In that time of the year where everything's just winding down.
I know I'm going to have to go a little deeper into the archives to try to find our Gator news.
I look forward to your third week of July Gator news.
Yeah, it's gonna get,
Oh, don't you wait, Nick.
wicked.
I'm going to start announcing random UF alumni that have gotten new jobs. I'm going to start announcing professors that earn tenureship and all of it. Don't you worry, Nick.
I'm
When
ready.
the content gets slow, we get booming.
Business is booming.
Absolutely.
We didn't get a Harlem checkup.
Oh man, he took his first football loss today, man.
No.
He took his first football loss, dog.
Man. How do you take it?
He didn't take it good at all, man. He had a great game, dog. Like he was the reason he was in the game. Like just making key plays. Like he got that clutch gene in him. So he was doing his thing, but he just hates to lose. He don't care about like individual stats, dog. So he ain't get that W. Sad walk to the car, but
What positions were we at today?
running back, no quarterback today. Running back, receiver, a lot of rushing. They had to put him and just make him start screening the one kid that was killing him. That's how they got back in the game. He just was like just screening at one kid and following him around everywhere. But yeah, it was good. It was fun, man. You can't win them all, dog.
You need team sports to get some adversity.
Yeah.
He had some adversity today.
And plus, he was just like he just had his chest and head up too high, bro. I needed some humility. He's like not wearing shirts around the house no more. He think he the man.
So, am I hearing that you
This
might
game.
have paid the referees? You're like, listen, my son's walking around shirtless in the house. He's talking back to me. I need him to lose today.
Nah, man. They'll beat this team next time. I just don't think they were like. I don't know. They haven't practiced in like a week and a half. Like we only showing up to games, but it's all right. It's all fun, bro. It's flag football. He's gonna probably lose some sleep about it, but he'll be all right.
Is he still going to stick at quarterback, or is this a permanent position change, do we think?
Oh no, they rotate him around. They can't. They got to make it fair. So they try to make everybody play a little bit of everything. They had a full roster today. When the older kids are out playing baseball or something like that, he gets more snaps at quarterback.
And what's the number again? I remember we talked about his number.
6 out there making plays, man. I got a couple of highlights. I didn't get a chance to post them. I had to rush right back to the stadium in Gale. We forgot to do Avery. I got to do Manscaped, don't I?
Yeah. Next week we'll watch his highlight tape and we'll break it down like we did with Jederis Perkins. We'll put it up on the other screen.
I'm trying to get 5 stars, bro. I told him Newberg and everybody watching this film.
Newberg's
Tell him he has an
watching
Alabama offer. He'll easily get 5.
That Berg bump, baby.
Oh man. Well, let's get a Manscaped read and then let's get out of here. While you're thinking of that, you also have the song of the week, I believe. So
Okay, no problem. I took the lawnmower 4.0 for a ride this weekend, fellas. Got a little carried away. Had some time. I was doing a little me time, self-care. The only hair on my body right now is probably my mustache, Dan. No nicks, no cuts, no bruises. Took care of family jewels and all, man. Lawnmower 4.0, got the light on there. I had the lights on. I said to move. I lit the incense. You know, I could shave with the light off, Dan. You know why? The Lawnmower 4.0 got that little LED light on it. Shave my whole body in the dark, didn't miss a hair, Nick.
I'm waiting for the ad read next week. Like, did not take the Lawnmower 4.0 for a ride last weekend because I had no hair left.
yeah.
Yo, only hair I got is a mustache, man. Believe that? That's the great folks at Manscaped.
That's the best part about the Lawnmower 4.0 is you get no nicks, Nick.
No nicks, Nick.
I don't like where this ad read's going.
It's going, hey, visit manscaped.com. Use coupon code SG at checkout for 20% off and free shipping. Take that Lawnmower 4.0 for a ride.
You know what I was thinking?
You have a whole different voice for your Manscaped ad read.
It's like a sultry. It's like a blues DJ.
Yes, his show starts at midnight.
Yeah,
and he's on a college campus somewhere.
Yeah,
spitting some Barry Manilow.
It's better than my. I got a strip club DJ voice. I do.
Welcome to Silky Time.
Coming to the stage.
No, but seriously, for Manscaped, I'm a big guy to always be prepared for the holidays. And Father's Day is coming up soon. I know that fathers usually never get great Father's Day presents. They usually get a tie or some socks, or they get something they usually don't want.
Now you about to get some ball deodorant, bro.
You're about to get some ball deodorant, and then maybe they sell cologne.
If I get ball deodorant for Father's Day, I'm riding for sure.
Listen, change Silk. I asked Silk, what's the difference between Mother's Day and Father's Day? He said love. Change Silk's mind.
Yeah.
Get your dad a Lawnmower 4.0, some ball deodorant.
Yeah,
make him feel loved on Father's Day.
Yeah.
You gotta get the package. What is the refine package? The refine package got the crop spray, it got the moisturizer, it got the ball deodorant, it got the Lawnmower 4.0. You get the whole shebang. You can't just give me ball deodorant. That's egregious.
Do you want just socks?
No.
Let's see. Yeah, they're running some Father's Day specials. We're not supposed to be talking about this until tomorrow, but what the hey? They got the Lawnmower 4.0, the Weed Whacker, and they've got cologne also available. They got a bunch of different stuff that they're going to be selling. So check them out. A bunch of different specials. Again, use promo code SG for 20% off. And remember, that's the only way that we can continue to do this ad read is when you guys use that. And that's everybody's favorite part of the show. That's why I stick around for Gator news, because they know Manscaped's coming after.
I better not get no ball deodorant for Father's Day. Or a barbecue grill kit.
We'll
Man, my dad could build a chair with the amount of spatulas he's gotten from Father's Day.
Right?
Every year.
I don't need meat no more. I'm still getting it. I'm like, yo, what am I grilling? Like, what's going on here?
Silk, we need to speak it into existence. What would be an ideal Father's Day present for you?
A Rolex.
Oh, very good. Very good.
I got song of the week.
Yeah, you do.
Okay.
Rolex.
Hey, man.
He said speak it into existence. Shoot or shoot.
That's
Dude's
right.
got to shoot. I'm going to go. Let me go freeze tag. Terrence Martin. Freeze tag.
Speaking of music, what did we think of the new J. Cole album?
Insane, man. I've listened to that album like 30 times since it dropped.
Favorite song?
It's insane. I keep going back and forth, but right now I think it's Pride is the Devil is my joint right now. I like Apply Pressure, but I think Pride is the Devil is my joint on the re-listens, man.
I think
there's layers to it.
I like that. I think mine on the re-listens is My Life. I think he just snapped his first verse.
Yeah.
That's the one with 27.
Yeah, no,
Savage,
not talking about 21's verse. Talking about J. Cole's
No. But that's
21 verse
that's
is
the
crazy
song,
too.
right?
I like 21 verse on that track as well. He was bouncing a little bit.
I liked
Pride is the Devil.
I like Pride is the Devil. I'm also a big Lil Baby fan, so
Lil Baby doesn't miss.
Yeah, no, he doesn't.
Nah.
Yeah.
He missed on this Kirk Franklin song.
I haven't heard that.
Is that the Space Jam song that's coming out?
Right.
Bro, that is wild. I haven't said Kirk Franklin's name in a coon's age, and I've said it twice in like 3 weeks on this podcast.
Age.
Okay, and that'll be the last episode of Stadium and Gale.
That is an old phrase that has nothing to do with anything other than raccoons.
No. Yeah,
where
I know,
it talks
man.
about a wild raccoon surviving 2 to 3 years.
No, I know that.
I don't need
they know
Nick
that.
canceling me on our show.
I don't know. Maybe I'm just young, Dan. I'm too young to know your references.
They gonna just cancel you, bro. They ain't about to cancel both of us.
I'm getting dragged down with you, Dan.
This whole show gets canceled because Nick doesn't understand old phrases. It's all right. We need to bring back that culture project. So remember when you used to teach me old phrases or phrases from the other side of the neighborhood? We need to do that with Nick, but just older phrases so he doesn't try to cancel our own show.
Yeah, I like it. Got to coach you, Nick, a little bit.
I love it. Well, yes, next week?
Same corner, same time, bruh.
All ready.
Stole it from me this week.
What it do, baby? All right, I'm out.
Good hour and a half.
It's a good show.
Yeah, what time y'all like?
You already said it, the Miami shit.
Yeah.
Everybody got a cousin in Miami.
Everybody's got a cousin in Miami.
That was funny.
That's true.
Because everybody do got a cousin in Miami, feels like.
Oh, man, I need to get this done in my house. I got a cousin. I know a guy. He can do that for you.
He's in Miami.
I was complaining to my buddy that I had to cut my grass. He's like, bro, I got a guy. My cousin will do it for $20. I'm like, what? I'm gonna do it. I just wanted to bitch about it.
$20. I'd pay that.
Yeah.
All right, so we're good. Corey, is that the right? Where did it go? Freeze tag Terrence Martin.
Terrace Martin.
How do you spell it?
TRRACE, I think. Let me see.
I'll be able to find it on YouTube, but it's freeze tag, right?
Yeah.
All right, we good. I didn't really have any edits besides the Neil Blackmon.
Do you want me to do that now, or does it not matter?
All right.